Now, on to some international news. The 17th G20 summit has kicked off in Indonesia's Bali. The big focus on day one was the meeting between President Joe Biden and Chinese President Xi Jinping, which could set the tone for US-China relationship in the days to come. Now, addressing the G20 virtually, Ukraine's President Zelensky called for an end to the Russian invasion. Prime Minister Modi, meanwhile, reiterated his call for peace and held several bilateral meetings on the sidelines, including one with US President Joe Biden. Parikshit now joins us with a quick wrap of the day's action on day one in Bali.
Competition should not turn into conflict. That was President Biden's key message to Chinese President Xi Jinping at the G20 summit in Bali, the first in-person meeting of the two leaders.
We had an open and candid conversation about our intentions and our priorities. It was clear, he was clear and I was clear, that we'll defend American interests and values, promote universal human rights, and stand up for the international order and work in lockstep with our allies and partners. We're going to compete vigorously, but I'm not looking for conflict. I'm looking to manage this competition responsibly.
Both leaders discussed the Ukraine-Russia war and agreed that any threat or use of nuclear weapons was totally unacceptable. While Biden raised objections to China's coercive and aggressive actions over Taiwan, the Chinese side conveyed that the Taiwan question was an internal matter and a red line that should not be crossed in US-China relations. The Chinese Foreign Ministry also said the world was big enough for US and China to develop and prosper. Tensions over the Ukraine-Russia war and its severe economic fallout is clearly weighing on every leader's mind at the G20. Addressing leaders virtually, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said that it was time for Russia's war to end. He also requested for an extension of the Black Sea grain deal. At the summit, Prime Minister Narendra Modi met President Joe Biden, Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, President Emmanuel Macron and President Mark Rutte of Netherlands. PM Modi called for an immediate ceasefire in Ukraine and warned about the consequences of the fertilizer shortage that the world is currently facing.
Prime Minister Modi said at G20, and I quote, "I have repeatedly said that we have to find a way to return to the path of ceasefire and diplomacy in Ukraine. I am confident that next year when G20 meets in the holy land of Buddha and Gandhi, we will convey a strong message of peace."
UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has a 5-point agenda at the G20, which includes ending Putin's weaponization of food and energy. There is still a question mark on whether the G20 will be able to arrive at a joint declaration due to lack of consensus on whether to condemn Russia and President Putin for the war against Ukraine. In New Delhi, Parikshit Luthra.
Meanwhile, Prime Minister Modi met US President Joe Biden on the sidelines of the G20 summit. The leaders discussed global and regional developments, also reviewed the continued deepening of India and US strategic partnership. Prime Minister Modi also addressed the Indian diaspora, hailing their contribution towards the Indonesian economy.
Namaste. वणक्कम। आप सबको नमस्कार। इंडोनेशिया आने के बाद, बाली आने के बाद हर हिंदुस्तानी को एक अलग ही अनुभूति होती है, एक अलग ही एहसास होता है और मैं भी